Conservatives are ecstatic about the pick of Paul Ryan for the vice president on the Romney ticket. And it's amazing. It looks like there's going to be a shift now from petty attacks by the president to a discussion of big issues. The candidates will be talking about how to bring government spending under control.
Pat, Jennifer Wishon has this look at Paul Ryan's plan for Medicare and the Democratic response.
From the day he launched his campaign for president, Mitt Romney has focused on the economy. Now he's picked a numbers guy to join his offensive.
President Obama has become part of the problem, and Mitt Romney is the solution.
With Paul Ryan on the ticket, the election becomes about more than the economy. Now it also looks at the bigger picture of government overspending. As Ryan said on the 700 Club in March of last year, the U.S. debt problem threatens the future of the economy and American standard of living.
If you don't get this debt under control, that quite literally means that our children and grandchildren will have a lower living standard than what we have. We will sever the American legacy of leaving the next generation better off. And we believe we have a moral obligation to you know, to the American people, to our constituents, to fix this problem before it gets out of our control, putting us down toward a debt-ridden crisis, a cradle-to-grave European-style social welfare state. That is not what America was meant to be, but unfortunately that's the path we are on.
And Medicare is the biggest reason the federal deficit has exploded. The real cost of Medicare has gone up some 300% compared to the economy since 1970. And Medicare spending will grow much faster in the years ahead, adding even more to the federal debt unless something is done. Ryan promises to do something.
We won't duck the tough issues, we will lead.
Ryan isn't alone. Other politicians know the program needs to change. Check out this conversation caught on camera with former President Bill Clinton.
But I hope the Democrats don't use it as an excuse to do nothing.
My guess is it's going to sink into paralysis is what's going to happen. And you know the math. I mean, it's just, we knew we were putting ourselves out there.
If you don't want to talk about it,
yeah, I'll give you a call. Great, thanks.
Ryan wants to lower cost by helping to get the free markets involved. He says his Medicare reform plan wouldn't affect current seniors and would give more choices to people who start to use the program in the future. Democrats are painting Ryan's ideas as extreme, and President Obama himself says he has an opposing vision for the country.
He's an articulate spokesman for Governor Romney's vision. But it's a vision that I fundamentally disagree with.
Ryan introduced his Medicare plan with a Democratic co-sponsor, and other Democrats have supported similar ideas in the past. Still, politically, Democrats are working to make Ryan appear scary to older voters.
It's a pick that is meant to thrill the most strident voices in the Republican Party, but it's one that should trouble everybody else.
A Roman Catholic, Ryan says his faith helped shape his views on federal spending.
Those principles are very, very important. And the preferential option for the poor, which is one of the primary tenets of Catholic social teaching, means don't keep people poor, don't make people dependent on government so that they stay stuck in their station in life. Help people get out of poverty onto life of independence.
Even though his district routinely votes for Democrats for president, Ryan has won elections 7 times. In the first 24 hours after he was added to the GOP ticket, enthusiastic donors sent in $3.5 million. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
Paul Ryan came up under the tutelage of a good friend of mine, Jack Kemp, with his Empower America. He and Bill Bennett were together in espousing conservative principles, smaller government, lower taxation, free trade, all those principles that we think are very important. And the thing is, Ryan has become a policy expert. He had an exchange with the president where he tied the president in knots, and the president just kind of basically gave up and says, well, listen, I'll discuss it later, because he couldn't handle it. He didn't know what the numbers were. And he's, so far, the Democrats in the Senate have failed to pass a budget for over, 1,000 days, 3 years. They haven't passed a budget. And when Obama put some of his ideas before the Congress, it was unanimously voted down. So Ryan has bipartisan support. Ron Wyden is a very articulate Democrat from Oregon. He's in the Senate, and he joined Paul Ryan in advocating some of these points of view in relation to Medicare. If you're going to save Medicare, you've got to be reformed. And I think that's the message. These scary tactics are not going to work. So it seems like the issues are being framed. And I think that Paul Ryan will tie Joe Biden in knots when he goes into debate with him. It's just a pity he's not debating the president, because he could do the same thing to him. He is an absolute expert, having been chairman of the House Budget Committee. So we will have an interesting debate, but it will be on the future of this country, the economic future, and I think it's very important. And so congratulations to Mitt Romney for a bold selection, and we'll see how this plays out in the remaining days before the election. Well, Wendy Griffith is here with more. Wendy, what you got?
Thank you, Pat. Greece's huge national debt is hurting its economy. The country remains trapped in a deep and brutal recession. The Greek economy shrank by 6.2% in the second quarter. That's worse than any recession in the U.S. since the 1930s depression. The downturn in Greece has lasted 5 years. Back here at home, gas prices just had their biggest increase this year, up 18 cents in the last 2 weeks, from $3.51 to $3.69. One reason, the drought is driving up corn prices. Corn ethanol is a key ingredient in gas. The drought is also pushing up food prices and devastating farmers.
We've got farms that are already going into liquidation. We're going to end up with food supplies nationwide. They're going to be short.
Corn prices are up 60% in just the last few weeks. That's a big hike, Pat.
Well, they're also holding up high. Corn is up higher than it has been, and it's moving up higher. Wheat is high, and soybeans are high. So the cost of feedstock is high. That means that those who are in the cattle and livestock business are not going to be able to feed their animals. Chicken feed, chickens will go up, eggs will go up. All these things that we eat are going up. And Congress has got to withdraw this ethanol mandate. You cannot take a large portion of our corn and use it for gasoline. You just can't do it. If they want to fix gasoline, then they ought to take natural gas and figure out a way to liquefy it so they can use it in cars. Either that or adopt cars so they can run on natural gas. We have an abundance of natural gas, and we do not any longer have an abundance of corn. But it's going to be interesting to see what will happen. But when you think of Greece, it's just a question of time before Greece drops out of the Eurozone. They are in desperate shape. We don't want to go there as a nation. Wendy?
Pat, the drought is also helping to cause something else, dust storms. Phoenix has been hit with some of those storms this year, with another one moving in the area Saturday. One meteorologist told the Arizona Public that after all the dry weather from the drought, it doesn't take much to cause a dust storm. Well, Christian author David Barton says a major national publisher has picked up his book, The Jefferson Lies. Christian publisher Thomas Nelson dropped the book last week. Thomas Nelson told CBN News it has concerns about historical accuracy. The publisher conducted a review of the book after a number of critics spoke out. Barton wrote The Jefferson Lies to correct what he calls a distorted understanding of Thomas Jefferson. CBN News spoke with Barton by phone about what happened.
Thomas Nelson never contacted us, expressed concerns, never asked to see documentation. And that's one of the things we keep on every book, every footnote, every claim, every fact is thorough documentation.
CBN News also talked to one of Barton's critics about the book.
I think some of the fundamental historical errors that he makes, the most profound, I think, in the book is to suggest that Thomas Jefferson was at any point in his adult life an Orthodox Christian.
John Fia and other Christian critics say they're not attacking Barton's worldview, just the accuracy of his work. Evangelist Billy Graham is being treated at a North Carolina hospital for bronchitis. Graham's spokesman says the 93-year-old evangelist was admitted to Mission Hospital in Asheville, North Carolina, Saturday night. Doctors say Graham is resting comfortably and is in stable condition. Well, laws against the sale of junk food in schools could help in the fight against childhood obesity. A large national study looked at the effectiveness of junk food laws over time, and researchers say children gained less weight from 5th through 8th grades if they lived in states with strong snack laws. They also found that children who were already obese in 5th grade were more likely to reach a healthy weight by 8th grade. Experts say this study is the first real proof that junk food laws could help. Well, Team USA is heading home from London as the overall Olympic champions. The U.S. won 104 medals to China's 87. American Bridgetta Barrett took silver in the women's high jump, but she told athletes in action it's important to keep things in perspective.
People will run up to you and they'll say, oh, you know, you're in the Olympics, you're amazing, or they'll make you feel really good. And that's great, but it also has the ability to puff you up in a way, and it can make you susceptible to pride and make you start pointing the finger at you when the finger should always be pointing up towards the sky.
Now the attention shifts to the next Olympics. That'll be in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. And Pat, I really enjoyed the Olympics this year. I know you did too.
Wendy, it was astounding, and the ratings were fantastic. I congratulate NBC for the job they did. They did wonderful coverage, and Mitt Romney stumbled a little bit when he criticized the security operation in London. He said it was open to terrorism. He was critical of it, but they didn't have any security problems. They did a beautiful job. Traffic flow was perfect. Everything worked, and the Brits were very cordial. And it was a tremendous achievement for NBC, for Great Britain, and for the Olympic athletes. And we're so proud, especially those girl runners, that bunch that broke a world record.
Yeah, the track and field.
Well, in the relay, the 4x100 relay, and then they did it again in the relay on the quarter mile. I mean, it was just amazing. Mm-hmm. Those little girls are fast.
Aren't they? But we have some outstanding athletes all the way around. But I do have to admit, I love watching track and field. Yeah. They are no joke. You know what I really enjoyed about the Olympics this time? The production value. They had cameras in some of the coolest places. I mean, if you watch swimming, you know, they had the underwater camera, and then they had it so that you could see the world record, you know, the world record line. I even loved the gymnastics when they did, I call it the, what is that movie where, The Matrix, thank you. It's like the Matrix thing where the person went in slow motion and was like all the way around. Oh, I thought that was so cool. That was just so cool.
That little Gabby Douglas is just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a shot of her, and the cameraman didn't know that he hadn't cut her head off because she jumped so high. If you see that one, it's an amazing photograph.
Amazing. She's from Virginia Beach. Gabby, I'm telling you now, if you come to Virginia Beach, I want to interview you. I do.
Get in line and take it up.
A mosque has opened in Tennessee following a 2-year court battle to stop it. Leaders of the Islamic Center of Murfreesboro held midday prayers in the new building Friday. Residents were upset about the mosque, saying they weren't given proper notice about the center's construction. But a federal judge allowed it to be open in time for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. CBN's children program called Pendek recently aired on Thailand's PBS station. Pendek is part of an online program that helps teach English to Thai children. Each episode has biblical themes and a message, and viewers are encouraged to pray with the host. In the future, CBN hopes the program can be used as teaching material in schools and churches as well. And you can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging on to cbn.com/international.